have about 2 weeks to live. And he's building this model for a school competition. And he feels that if he could win it, his life would have had some meaning, a purpose.
The world is full of terrors for the mind that plays tricks upon itself. I was on a moving walkway at the airport. Then this voice started saying,
"Caution, you are now approaching the end of the moving walkway. Caution, you are now approaching the end."
Until eventually I began to think, what the f*** is waiting for me at the end of the moving walkway?
Caution, Candyman is waiting at the end of the moving walkway. Welcome to Terminal 5.
So it was a flight which I happened to be taking just after there'd been 2 major plane crashes. So for days beforehand, I was going around saying things like, of course, things like plane crashes always happen in threes, because predicting the worst, that's a way of making your flight safe, isn't it? But of course, the problem with doing that is, it's immediately followed in my mind by an image of one of my friends saying, and the amazing thing was, he was just saying about how plane crashes always happen. Another sandwich, Rabbi? I sometimes think this world was put here to mess with my head, you know. I couldn't get my car door the other day because they said I was a comedian. What? They think I'm going to drive my car in a funny way? Well, I suppose that is dangerous, yeah. Although one tip, if you do want to drive your car in a funny way, this is especially good on the motorway. Get a friend to sit in the passenger seat really low down and hold on to the steering wheel, right? While you lean out of your window and go like this. I can never seem to focus on the main issue, you know. I'm always distracted by some fringe concern. Like when I watch a boxing match. I don't get involved with who's going to win. I just start wondering what exactly it is they're saying to rile each other up.
You're not a very good boxer. You smell. Your gum shield's been up my arse.
The thing is, once the mind hits one of those self-conscious snags, nothing seems natural anymore. Even breathing. You know, as soon as you start thinking about it, you sort of forget how to do it. In, oh God, what's after in? And when I went to America, jet lag played havoc with my insomnia anyway. But then it was compounded by the fact that in America, they have this food called a knish. And just to show you how all something needs to be to become the main all-night feature in my brain is complete, utter gibberish, I made up this advert when I couldn't sleep. Fancy a knibble, knish a knish. But then, the needle in my brain sort of stuck on it. And I kept repeating to myself, fancy a nibble, knish a knish, fancy a nibble, knish a knish, fancy a nibble, knish a knish. Faster and faster, the fancy a nibble, knish a knish train in my brain was out of control. I tried thinking of other things which normally preoccupy me.
Out of Joanne Whalley and Isabella Gianni, who do I most fancy? A knibble, knish a knish, fancy a nibble, knish a knish.
It was no good. Eventually I started to think, this is it. This is all I'm ever going to think now. I'll have to live the rest of my life fitting my entire range of expression around these 6 words.
Your mother was a wonderful woman.
She'll be sadly missed.
Fancy a knibble, knish a knish. Of course, that's another mind game, being Jewish. It just lays a load of guilt on you, as does being Catholic, being whatever. Some people carry a great burden of guilt their whole lives. The other day I came home and Rob was round at my flat. I think Emma must have let him in on a way out or something. And I noticed for the first time just how guilty he looks all the time.
Listen, what I think is you shouldn't feel guilty all the time, you know. I mean, remember, you haven't actually done anything bad, you know. You're not a sinner, you know. You're not wrecking anyone's life. I mean, there are much worse people in the world. You know, I mean, obviously we all to a general, overwhelming sense of existential guilt all the time. But if you personally can look on your individual record and say, well, basically, the scales are then I think you should be able to walk free of conscience. Just say, you know, I am a free psychological citizen. I'm able to hold my head up and look people in the eye and say, you know, I've never done anything that wrong. You know, I'm blameless, essentially. And You're a positive type. Hurt me. Anyway, I mean, the thing to remember is, you know, you shouldn't have to feel responsible for everything bad that ever happens in the world.
Good evening. I'm Peter.
And I'm Tony.
The headlines. A body was found today on Exmoor. A full-scale search of the area has discovered a stolen car dumped in a nearby region. Tony.
Oh, has it? Really? Oh, body. Oh, dear. I didn't know about that. First I've heard. And they found a Volkswagen Beetle there, did they? Was it a Beetle? I wouldn't know. It could have been any car. Oh, look, it was a Beetle. I would, well, of all the cars I could have named, blimey. And where's Exmoor? I wouldn't know. Where is that? Anyway, I couldn't have been there and back because it's a 3.25-hour round trip. Is it? Peter.
Foreign news. The relief operation in Somalia has been obstructed by bandits raiding the Red Cross convoys. A spokesman said that there are fears that thousands more may die as a result. Tony.
Has there? Is there? Bandits, eh? Well, I didn't know about that. I mean, why should I? There's no special reason for me to know that. I mean, I may have more flour than most people have in their homes, but I buy in bulk. And I keep it in the garage now. There's a lot more room in there because I don't have a car anymore. Not that I've lost it in Exmoor. Peter.
And finally, good news. London Zoo has at last been successful in its attempt to mate Chi-Chi the panda. She's pregnant and due to give birth next February. Tony.
Is she? First I've heard about that. February, you say, so she must have conceived round about September the 12th. Damn the rhythm method. Anyway, it could have been me. It couldn't have been me, because I was in Somalia in September. No, I wasn't. I was in Exmoor. No, I wasn't. I haven't been there either.
Well, the doctors have said that if he wins this school competition, it might mean he could live for anything up to another 6 months. It's become everything to him, building this model.
Now, there is no need for 40% of all agricultural accidents to happen. Now, there was no need for that to happen.
We've been searching now for almost 2 weeks for the almost extinct Venezuelan silver monkey. There's been no sign of it. But last night, this very neat line of billy cans that I put out has been disturbed. And next to it here are some silver monkey droppings. Don't mess with my billy cans! That was a neat line!
Don't tell him, but I have had a word with the other teachers on the judging panel. We've seen the other entries, and he's won the competition.
Well, he's carrying his Hope creation to school tomorrow. Maybe his last day alive. But he'll be so proud if he wins. It'll mean everything to him.
Good evening. I'm Peter da-da-da-da-da-da.
And I'm Tony. Yahoo.
The headlines. Police today issued a photo fit picture of a man they wish to question in connection with molesting statues in Liverpool city centre.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad they have. Oh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Imagine that, molesting a statue of Queen Victoria. You didn't say Queen Victoria, did you? Who said it? Did I say it? Did you say it?
A man is being held in connection with the recent spate of attacks on horses. A police spokesman announced that they believe they have caught the so-called horse ripper.
No, they haven't. Have they? Brilliant, because I wouldn't like to think of any more horses getting attacked in the moonlight for having long snouts like Nana. Horsey Nana, I used to call her. Oh, yeah. Horses can poo wherever they want and no one beats them. Stop it, Horsey Nana, stop it! Peter.
A single gunman raided a post office in Stoke today and made off with £200 in cash. An in-store camera caught the raiders in action.
Well. £2,000 in cash and loads of tax discs. Did they steal any tax discs? Oh, what a lucky guess. Let's see if I can do it again. £2,000 in cash, some tax discs and a catamaran. Well, it just goes to say I was just lucky with that tax disc guess. Plane tickets. I really must be going. Oh, dear, I've got to get off.
This week's Horizon looks at the lives of a group of people who have to spend every day ridiculed and laughed at by the rest of society simply because of the way they look.
No, it's not a mask. Yes, I admit the skin on my nose is of a texture that does make it look plastic. And so to some people this might suggest that I'm wearing some sort of joke shop nose. And that's very hurtful. And yes, I know that my facial hair does have a carpet-like quality. But I don't see why this makes it odd or funny. The first person to suffer from this condition, you may know, was Groucho Marx. But unlike him, I don't look stupid. This does mean, though, that I have to conduct myself with twice the dignity of others, and I'm a serious person. I mean, I don't see why I should have to prove this, but, for example, I've written a thesis on D.H. Lawrence. I'll get it for you if you want.
Another associated problem that tends to affect people with this disorder is a directional dysfunction. And tragically, as if to compound the problem, Julius is only able to correct his walk by taking out a large cigar. Julius's affliction creates enormous problems in his work.
Hello. We've come to drive you and your immediate family to the crematorium.
Research that Horizon has undertaken has revealed the existence of others who are, in Julius's terms, people of restricted seriousness.
I mean, there are tribes in Africa, for example, where having large ears is considered a mark of great beauty. Admittedly, these are tribes of elephants. My work can suffer as well. You see, I work in a centre for the deaf, and they just think I'm taking the piss. And as my hand signing happens to be quite slow, it takes me quite a while to explain it to them. No, these are my real ears.
Because of his extraordinary appearance, one of Julius's only friendships is with a man who has never actually seen him. For 15 years, Julius has corresponded with a man in Bolton, and today he meets his pen pal Howard for the first time. As they have never met, Howard has chosen to identify himself by carrying a distinctive tartan thermos flask. Julius has found comfort by establishing a support group for people with similar problems.
They've thrown a brick through my window.